Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Let me do the polite thing of putting myself with the comments coming over my face. That's a lot more. Oh, no. Why won't it let me change? I'll sort that out in a minute. Good evening to each and every one of you. According to Terry Flewers, I'm seeing it now. The internet's about to break. Sean, tell us what's he said. Why is the internet about to break?
Well, I'm more interested in the second story, to be honest. But the first story, apparently, he said it's the biggest deal in English football history is about to be announced. Which, if it's Florian Wirtz, then it's not that exciting, obviously, because everyone knows it's a big deal. But if it's something else, then we'll find out. But second story, mate, is far more interesting to me. This is breaking literally in the last 30 seconds. Inter Milan are part of the biggest financial scandal in Italian football since Calciopoli. A confidential report has revealed that nearly 300 million euros in revenues from fictitious Asian sponsors from 2016 to 2019 were allegedly used to bypass FFP, while other clubs were punished for less. The Italian Federation allegedly helped Inter avoid sanctions, even amid links to mafia-connected ultras. It's just breaking on Twitter right now. Wild!
Wow.
Wild Tuesday night.
Wow. Let's be live for when the scandal breaks, Sean. Let's be live for it. I mean, I love this. If Terry is right, big up Terry. If Terry is right, and the most monumental news, I'm expecting like Lionel Messi signing for Tottenham. Like I'm expecting.
It's got to be Yamal. That's got to be it. Yamal coming to Tottenham to play left back.
Yeah. Absolutely mad. Sean, see, listen, we've got our work cut out for us. YouTubers in the summer, we love it. There's content galore. There's lots of rumors. We haven't really spoken properly about this, but in the last 24 hours, there has been possible new owners, possible new chairman, possible new manager. Donna Cullen's gone. Ryan Mason has gone to West Brom. 4 players have been released. We've released a new kit that looks exactly like all the other kits. And if I haven't missed anything else out, it's never dull at Tottenham Hotspur. That should be order es for ser, change it to never a dull day.
Yeah. What is the Latin for never a dull day? Let's change that.
Anyone in the chat? What's the Latin for that? Mate, it's all gone a bit bananas, isn't it, at Spurs?
Yeah, it had. You know the most frustrating thing, right? So I did this video. I woke up at 4:00 this morning. I ran out of sleep, and I went up and did a. I got down the park early and did a video. And on the video, right, I said, so there's it's ITK civil war. I've got to get these clips from WhatsApp. Like people are blocking out the telephone number, but they've left the pictures of the people up, and apparently one of them is Donna Cullen's son. Right. The reason I said Donna Cullen's son is because Sim told me it was Donna Cullen's son. But I thought he was serious. He sent me a message earlier. He goes, "Why did you say it was Donna Cullen's son?" I was like, "Because you told me it was." And he goes, "I was joking, you bozo." I was like, "Oh, no, I'm a complete Burke. Now I'm just using some..." Well, oh, never mind. No one will see the video. Turned out to be my most watched video.
Mate, it's absolutely mental. Like, the funny thing is, right, I'd say, do you know what I love best about this, right? The thing I love best is you'll get this as well. When you're a YouTuber, everybody who knows you're a Spurs fan, everyone who is a Spurs fan, the moment they get news, they send it to you, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh my God, you always say, thank you. I really appreciate that. Even though you've had it about 98 times in the last 5 minutes. And people always do this. They go, but don't show anyone this. And I'm like, I've received this about 95 times. It's flying around the internet. And the big one yesterday was that Daniel Levy is stepping down and Vivian Lewis is really upset with him and she's had enough. And Peter Charrington, if I'm getting that name right, is going to be the guy that comes in. He joined the board in March. If I'm not wrong, when he left City to set up his own company and his only, if I'm not wrong, I might be wrong here, and his only client is Joe Lewis, right? With all his portfolio, if I'm not wrong.
Maybe. Don't know.
Is this just 2 and 2 and we're all getting about 9,000? Or do you think there's anything in this?
There's nothing in it at all, mate. It's just Donna Cullen just retired. And Joe Lewis has just sent his right-hand man to come and keep an eye on what's going on at Tottenham. That's about it. But listen, mate, you know, content's got a content. You know, we got to put these stories out there. So you got to twist it and turn it into some magical manifestation of a beast of a story. When in reality, nothing's happening at Tottenham. Nothing's going to change. Now, to be entirely honest, I do think it's an absolute flaming disgrace.
Right.
Like, obviously, people that don't watch my channel won't know that they'll only really hear me ever when I speak about Daniel Levy. It's predominantly to defend him in debates about Daniel Levy against people that are Levy out. But on my channel, I was given a hard shake, and I've been going crazy at him because I think that this is an absolute disgrace what's going on at Tottenham right now. In the last few days, the club have kind of just really been just horrendous with, you know, just all of the momentum, all of the kind of the oomph that we had all in our sails, the wind in our sails, and it just feels like we've ground to a halt because we don't even know who our manager is, and there's no chance we should be on the 3rd of June without any clarity on that. All of the good, you know, all the good girls are being taken. I always say this on the, you know, on my channel, that I feel like there's a party going on, and all the 9s out of 10 girls are being mopped up by the other good-looking boys, or the good-looking boys, and I'm still stuck at home waiting for an Uber, you know. And I just feel like by the time I get there, there's only going to be 6s left, and I don't want a 6. I'm trying to get an 8, or at least, you know, at least a decent 7. But
when you're in the nightclub, you're waiting for the lights to come on at the end of the night. There's that sort of yeah.
Should I take this one home?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Do you know what? Do you know what's funny about it is? Look, I agree with you, and I actually did a video on Saturday where I said, well, you know, does Levy actually need to let us know anything? 3 days later, I'm going, well, hang on, there is so much smoke. There is so many reports that I feel, whether it's Levy or whether it's Vinay Venkatesham, somebody
who's supposed to be the champion of communication, right?
Right. Somebody needs to come out and say, right, all of these rumors about sales of the club gone. All of these rumors about Ange, he's our guy. And then everyone can just settle down, and then we can all start attacking them and going, right, where's our signings then? If there's nothing going on behind the scene,
then why we sleep at the bar or sleep at the wheel, sort of thing.
Why is Mbeumo going to Man United? Why are Cunha going to Man United? Why are
£60 million for Mbeumo? Though 60 million for Mbeumo, it's a lot of money, isn't it?
Sure, but you know, if you want to listen, let's be fair. If you're gonna get those players, you're gonna pay, right?
100%. Yeah, I think it's horrendous. I wouldn't mind if it was just the fan base speculating and a couple of cheeky aggregators doing it. But when it's Matt Law, people that are actually inside, in the inner circle that get fed the stories by the club, you know, when it's those guys that are speculating on this stuff, then I feel like there's a duty of care.
Yeah,
not to the fan base necessarily, but I think that would be nice. But more just to Ange Postecoglou, come out and say he's our guy, or if he isn't, then what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Is it because we really don't know who we want, or is it because we would like to replace him? Oh, well done. Nunquam these tenebrosos.
There you go. If anybody could do me a chat GTP photo of a Spurs shirt that just says that on it, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I just feel like, you know, look, there's a duty of care to Ange, right? A duty of care to us to let us know what's going on, and this radio silence. And it just stinks to me, mate, of a lack of preparation again. It's like they've got to this point. They're going, okay, well, we'd like to get rid of him, but let's find out what the interest is in the job, and kind of put some feelers out there. And they haven't really got any biters. And so now that they're getting to that point where they're going, shit, the market's quite dry, the well is dry. Should we just stick with him? And I think that's the problem. But they've had so long to figure this out. You didn't need to wait until after the final to know that you might have wanted to keep him or sack him after the final, regardless. It stinks of amateur hour again. It pisses me off.
Let's be brutally honest, right? There were 2 options from the final. It wasn't like they had a million. That's it. Yeah. They didn't have a million things to weigh up. It was literally, and this would be the same with our transfer targets, Sean. Right? There will be transfer targets for, well, we've not got Champions League revenue and we have. If that's the case, I did a video earlier saying Spurs are a shambles. What's going on? Where's the communication? Why are we not actually buying anybody? And everyone was going, oh, you're being dramatic. Calm down. No one else is. And I was like, well, hang on. Liverpool are on the verge of signing free. City are on the verge of signing free. Arsenal have got Zubimendi and are now deep in concrete talks with Sesko. Chelsea have signed Delap, someone else, I can't remember his name, and now apparently entering talks with Mike Maignan. I'm looking at all these clubs going, hello, hello, we've just got Champions League. We are with these clubs. We are where they are.
We're not at the party yet, mate. We're not at the party. That's the problem. We haven't turned up. You know, we can't find our keys or something. Yeah, that's the problem. What's going on? Mom, where's my shoelaces?
Yeah. Yeah. Has anyone seen my keys?
Yeah.
Where did you leave them last? If I knew that, I wouldn't be asking. You know, like,
you're not having a row. Yeah.
But it
I
is
don't know
crazy,
what's going on, mate, but it's annoying me. It's annoying me a lot.
I mean, look, my understanding was, Sean, that Vinay Ventukesham started yesterday, right? Other people are saying he hasn't started yet. Do you know, has he started?
I think Matt Law said he starts next week. So
okay,
I don't know.
Starts next week, as in.
I mean, that's the other thing, right? Like, why can't they just have been doing work in the background? It's so annoying, mate. It's so annoying. Like, I you know, even at like the micro business level, that when I would go out and like speak to businesses, like they have contingency plans. Oh, everybody. Oh, welcome to Spurs Talk Show. Where's he gone? It's me.
Sorry, everybody. On my end, when I'm pressing these buttons, nothing's changing.
Oh, it's changing. It's changing at this end.
Oh, sorry. So if you guys, hang on, this should be me and you, right?
Yeah, that's better. That's back. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. When I'm changing things, it's not working. I don't know why. Apologies, everyone. Apologies. Sorry, mate. Go on. Yeah, sorry. Go on. As you were. Sorry.
No. I'm just saying. Like, even when I used to sort of work in like marketing and go out and speak to, like, you know, small businesses, medium business, whatever. Like, every little businesses would have contingency plans. Oh, this is what we're going to do if this happens, and if not, this happens. And they're working 3, 6, 9 years, sometimes 18 months out, right? Like, they're looking ahead. It's called forecasting. It's not rocket science, but it doesn't feel like we do it. I think we do it with cash. I think we do it with, like, I can't imagine Daniel Levy would leave it until the last minute to make sure that he's got his like his catering department's contracts all negotiated and ready to go. But when it comes to players, it just seems like it's an afterthought, and I don't. The priorities seem to be incredibly wrong at the club, and I don't know if that's because there's things going on. Like, if there's nothing going on, it's still unforgivable, even if there is carnage happening in the boardroom and there really is things that are like shaping up to be interesting. But if there isn't, if it's just, you know, par for the course, then it's really, really poor, because like you said, mate, like all of our competition are starting to get themselves ready, and we haven't even like thought about it, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's the key thing for me. You're right. Whatever's going on behind closed doors, it should not stop BAU. It should not stop business as usual, for those who don't know what BAU means. And I think the difficulty for me is every year we sit here, don't we? And again, it don't matter if you're the manager in, manager out, Levy in, Levy out, whatever it is. Every year we sit there and go, this summer, this has got to be the one and I did in my video this morning. The title of it was, "Can someone remind me who won the Europa League?" And what I said in it, Sean, was I was being really sarcastic and said, let's go back 13 days. Man United, if they don't win this, they're finished. They've got no money. Amarim's going. The club are a mess. They're terrible. In the 13 days since, they've managed to keep hold of Bruno Fernandes, who's turned down 700k a week at Al Hilal, and I respect him for that. Yeah. They've managed to offload players. They've managed to bring in Cunha. They've managed to be deep in talks with Mbeumo, right? Amarim, the club have confirmed that Amarim is staying. Whether or not fans wanted that or not, they've confirmed. And I'm looking and going, how are they doing all that? And in the 2 weeks since we've been celebrating, we're all sitting here going, who's our manager? Who's our director of football? Who's our owner? Like, it's madness. We've not done anything while Man United are acting like a proper club.
It doesn't feel like it's happening. This wouldn't happen anywhere else, I don't think. You know? By the way, it was the worst. It was the worst still. Like, it really wasn't worth the biggest record signing really wasn't worth that sort of clickbait. Well, he's smart with the clickbait, to be honest, but it was the Florian Wirtz still, yeah.
I mean, really? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, hang about. Brian Mbeumo has secured an £800,000 per week to join Manchester United along with a few modest extras. His own personal dressing room with gold. No.
What? No, 800 grand a week.
Hang about. I'm not sure. This is legit. Let me read this out. This is from Terry. Breaking. Brian Mbeumo has secured an 800 grand a week deal to join United along with a few modest extras. His own personal dressing room with gold-plated lockers. Nah, this is bollocks. He's mucking around.
Oh, but what is... Yeah,
he must be mucking around. He says a lifetime supply of croissants flown in daily from Paris.
Oh.
The captain's armband. Yeah, okay, it's a joke. It's good.
Sean, I think the upshot of all of this...
Should have read it to myself before I read it out loud.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Hang on, what's going on? Sorry, my StreamYard is not playing ball with me tonight. I'm really sorry, guys. Don't know what's going on. Hopefully it is working for you guys at your end. Let me just do that. No, it's not working. I'm trying to... No. Look, I think the worst thing for me here, Sean, is... And I'm using Man United as the benchmark because this is now a team, Man U, that we were told had money troubles, right? And that they needed it more than we did. Everyone you spoke to, they need this Champions League more than we do. Yet they're the ones that are 65 million on Cunha, right? They're going to pay 60 million, 55 million for Mbeumo. So we're talking about 120 million pounds on two forwards that, by the way, walk into Tottenham Hotspur's team, right? They've not got Champions League. And we're sitting here going, all right, we might loan Tell back or we might buy Kyle Walker-Peters. I thought just for once...
Sane would be all right, wouldn't he? Sane would be all right.
So,
if we got Sane by the end of the week, would everyone go?
Listen, I think if we get to the end of this transfer window and Spurs go, right, our two marquee signings were Sane and Eze, I think it transforms our forward line. So yes, I'm going to be very happy. Then I'm more comfortable with the Kyle Walker-Peters because of the homegrown and the club trained. What I don't want to see, Sean, is that we sit around for 3-4 weeks and then we go, Spurs have signed Kyle Walker-Peters, because the optics will be, hang on, we got Champions League and our first signing is an ex-player who's just been relegated with Southampton. So I think optics play a part, right?
Twice,
they
by
do.
The way. Twice. He's been relegated twice with Southampton and he didn't leave the first time.
Serial relegation right back. Yeah.
No, he can play on both sides, though. He can play on both sides. He's versatile. We like versatility. Do you know what, man? I was going to update you. This is problematic for me, right? I'm Ange out, yeah? but I'm also not Ange out unconditionally. I'm Ange out if I'm Ange in if there's no one better. Yeah. The more time that passes and the more I think about it, I feel like the market's getting dry, and it's certainly. I'm looking around and I'm going, I might actually end up having to kind of just eke my way back across the oche here because I don't think, like, I don't think that there's that many managers out there that are worth the risk.
Mate, I'm you know my scenario. I'm happy to take anyone
but him. Yeah.
I'm happy to take you. I'm happy to take the Cheltenham manager, Nathan Jones, that just got them promoted. I genuinely cannot watch another season of this man's football, but I'm not going to go too deep into Ange at the moment. But even that today, stories flying around that, somebody's called Ange and told him he's got to fly back today from his holiday. People saying, what could it mean? Well, why would you call someone back from their holiday to sack them or tell them they've got their luck? I just don't like. I just want
to leave them alone. Leave them alone. Let them enjoy
communication.
Yeah,
what are we doing? It's utter madness.
You've not heard of Skype, Tottenham? You've not heard of Skype? You can get on the phone. You can do it from his sunbed. If you're sacking him, just wire him his £7 million and his winner's medal and leave him alone. Okay, just let him enjoy the rest of his holiday.
But then
he's in a win-win situation anyway, isn't he? Regardless of what happens, he's in a massive win-win.
His stock's high. He's just won a European trophy. He's going to get £7 million. And by the way, that's doing the rounds, isn't it? The company that are the intermediary that pay that. Apparently, people are going, "Oh, it's just been confirmed that they've just released £7 million and it's gone to." And you're like,
"How do you know this?"
but because of that, the club do have to. They've got to now. They've got to be. And yesterday was Donna Cullen. Today was a kit launch. tomorrow? Are you hopeful?
Mate, but you know what? Even if I've slashed the other rumour as well, he was going to get sacked today, but they didn't want to disrupt the kit launch. If we're honestly putting a kit launch when every fucking shirt looks exactly the same, like, no, that's more important than figuring out who our manager is. What are we doing here? You know?
Yeah.
What are we doing
we
here?
don't want to confuse the fans by showing them a shirt and sacking somebody in the same day. It's all a bit.
It's interesting though. He wasn't in the video, so that must mean Ange out. It must mean he's out. You know, it's got to be the way it goes. Well, the way it goes. If you're not in the video, then you're clearly leaving the club. You know,
there were people earlier saying, "Oh, Tell must be signing because online you can buy a Tell Spurs shirt for the new shirt." And it's really? if you took every Spurs rumor, right? I'll tell you what, we love it. We love it as YouTubers.
That's a good idea for content, mate. That is, just get all the rumors, just get every random wannabe ITK and just put it into some video. This is today's batshit crazy version of Tottenham Twitter.
Do you know what, right? When it gets to, I don't have an X account, right? But when it gets to the summer and January, I borrow my friends' logins and I literally have it on in the background. I don't post. It's not my account. And he lets me just use it. And I look at Fabrizio Romano, Ornstein and Plettenberg, right? That's all I do. And literally now all I find myself doing all day when I'm streaming is constantly in the background, refreshing Romano, going, all the 2 new story. No, nothing to do with Spurs. Nothing to do with Spurs. Like,
wait. There's he's put a white circle and a tick. Yeah. Is it Tottenham? No, it's Marseille. Sake.
Oh, but even Romano got in 2 days ago when all the Ange stuff was rife. 2 days ago, even Romano got involved, didn't he? Was like, "Oh, I'm hearing that there's going to be a decision made tomorrow."
Mate, that guy, fair play to him, right? He must make about, I don't know, $1,000 a tweet in advertising revenue, maybe more than that. Oh. He just put out a tweet, then put another one 5 minutes. I'd start I'd go, you know what? I've got at least 6 months here before my credibility is entirely ruined. I'm just going to pump out a tweet every 5 minutes and just absolutely rinse the Twitter monetization program.
Do you know what I give him credit for? At the end of a transfer window, that man must be so tired. Like he is relentless. Like podcasts, shows, tweet. Like he is absolutely relentless. And I'd love to look at his phone and just look at his contact list because let's be fair, he must have everybody's number in the world. That man, it's crazy.
Have you seen that show with Michael McIntyre when he gets a like a celebrity and he texts everybody? It would be awesome to get him on that show and text him. You see like Alan Shearer's responding, Cristiano Ronaldo's responding. You know, it'd be fantastic. Mate, I wanted to ask you this, right? Is there any like in your mind? Because I've been trying to land on like this, you know, like I jump across the fence to try like a protractor, trying to find every angle to see how I feel. I'm never really clear about anything. With Ange, I feel like, I'm not sure if I said this to you the other night on your show or if I said it on mine, but I feel like the story isn't complete, but not because like I feel like he's owed another season. It's just I feel like I don't know. I'm not clear on whether this guy is a hero or a fraud. And I feel like it's on, when you watch, I said this a couple of times already, but like when you watch Netflix and you get like season 1 and 2, and you know that in real life that particular program has a 3rd season, but it's not on Netflix. To watch it, you have to go to like Hulu in Canada or something. You know, and you know that like the season 2 ends on a cliffhanger, and you can't see the end of it, and it pisses you off. I feel like with me, I some part of me, I need to know whether this guy is the real deal for cup trophies or whether he actually is as bad as we think he is. And I feel like if I don't know that and he gets to walk off into the sunset believing that he's a legend, part of me is going to go, I don't think you are. And I need to see this at Tottenham. So like some part of me is also like a bit of a sadomasochist. I want him to stay just so I can get clarity on the end of the story. You know what I mean?
I'm quite happy to wait 6 months for the next season of the show and the main character doesn't reappear. I'm really, it's like, you know, like Stranger Things has had like a 2-year hiatus between this season and the last season. Yeah. I'm happy to wait. I'm happy. Listen, everyone knows my opinion on Ange. It's why I don't need to sit here and go out. Everyone knows I want him out. But more than that, the Tottenham Hotspur fan in me, I just want some clarification about everything. Like tell us what's going on. If it's the manager is staying, tell us. If Fabio Paratici is joining, tell us. If we need to know, because at the moment I don't know. I genuinely don't know. We're hearing, Spurs are talking to Leroy Sané. Who? Because Daniel Levy was on holiday. Are we led to believe? Is this Vinay? Is this Lang? Who is talking to Leroy Sané?
Scott Munn. Scott Munn, the mole.
Scott Munn is talking. Like,
yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I feel like as well. I don't follow other clubs as obviously as much as Spurs, but we always seem to hear that Levy and the manager are on holiday the week after the season ends, and other clubs seem to be that's when they go right, buy.
Yeah, I don't mind Ange having a holiday if he's staying, or the players and the manager. But like, why can't Daniel Levy do a holiday in October when the transfer windows aren't open? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Like when you live streams of me watching Stranger Things when the new season comes out. Is that what you want?
Nice, yeah. Reaction content.
Is my channel just going to be like jack of all? Like we just do anything.
I find it absolutely insane that at this stage of the season, Levy thinks that he needs a holiday. Why couldn't he have had a holiday in February? Or October, out of transfer window. Nothing more can be done until the summer. So the summer comes around. He's like, well, no, sorry, got to beat those half-term prices. Can't get on that. Can't get on the plane in June, so we'll go now. Flights are a nightmare with the families off school holidays and that. It's outrageous, isn't it?
I mean, but that's the thing, right? I was sitting there yesterday thinking about this. Like when I'm hearing, Carl Walker-Peters, Leroy Sané, people think we're getting Eze. Who is the man going there and going, hi, I'm the representative for Tottenham? It must be Lang or Munn. It must be, right? And the question I'm asking is, if you're a top player, if you're an Eze, if you're whoever, are Lang and Munn persuading you? Are Lang and Munn the guys where you go, yeah, they're going to get this shit done? And the answer for me is I don't know, Sean, because I don't know what Scott Munn bloody does.
What's the first question that any player's going to ask after how much are you going to pay me?
Who's the manager going to be?
Who's the manager going to be?
Yes. Who's the manager?
Don't know. Sorry. No, we haven't seen Daniel Levy. He's currently in Barbados having a week in the sun. Yeah. I'll let you know next week. But yeah, are you interested? I'll wait. Thank you. It's ridiculous, isn't it? The whole thing's ridiculous.
It's absolutely crazy. If somebody comes to me, because look, I've done this whole thing before about how it works with intermediaries and agents before the clubs get involved. But if somebody's ringing up my agent, if you're my agent, right, let's just assume that I'm a top striker from Spanish club, because Sava would look amazing on the number 10, proper goal scorer, right? If you ring me up and go, I've just had Tottenham Hotspur on the phone. What we saying? Are you feeling it? Blah blah blah. First thing I'm going to do is go, hang on, everything I'm seeing, they're a shit show. Who's the manager next season? Is it Ange? Yeah. Who's the owner next season? Is Fabio Paratici? They're not dumb, right? They're going to ask these questions. And at the moment, who knows? Who knows, mate? Who knows what's going on?
Well, and that's why I think that, as much as don't get me wrong, as much as I will lean into any particular whatever story is pumped out, I'll turn it into a 25-minute video because content's got a content. But I still think there's not going to be a single thing that gets anywhere close to being done until we get some clarification. So
no,
more days of twiddling our thumbs, mate. I think.
And I think this is the thing. I think everyone assumed that this was going to be the week, right? Everyone assumed that this was going to be the week that Monday morning came. Levy's back from holiday, and we all went, ta-da! All of our questions are answered. If anything, this week has given us more. It's only, by the way, it's Tuesday night, right? It's Tuesday night, and at the moment, I'm now not only wondering who the manager is, I'm wondering who the director of football is, the owner, is Vivian Lewis.
The PR girl. Yeah.
PR. I'm literally sitting there going,
nothing.
Hello, what's going on? And a few months back, when Vinay was announced, I said, Sean, I think I said this to you, I said that this was only my theory. I didn't have any inside information. My theory was, I think Levy's having a clean sweep. That was what I said. I think Levy's having a clean sweep. I think everyone's going to go. And then I think we're going to have Paratici, Gabonini, Vinay coming in, and everything will change. Well, Mason's gone. Donna Cullen's gone. At the moment, no one seems to know what's happening with Lang or Munn or Ange.
Or that Matt Colcott guy.
Or Colcott. But do you give any legs, for my theory? Are there any legs in my theory, or is this bigger than that now? Is this Levy could go as well? Like it seems weird. We're hearing there might be investment from the Qataris from the US, and do you think it could be bigger than what I said?
I think that he's gonna if there is any real money coming in, his condition is gonna be I want £5 million a year guaranteed for the next 5 years. You know, I'll do whatever role you want. If you want to put me in charge of commercial or whatever, I'll do that. But I want £5 million a year, and I want 4 billion or 3.5, whatever it's going to be. But as I say, if I'm Qatar and I'm coming in going, I'm buying a £4 billion company, and you don't even know when it comes to the transfer window, day 1, 2, and 3, and 4, you don't even know who your director of football is. You haven't even got Vinny to start on the 1st of June. Like, why did he have to wait until why is he not, like, you know what I mean? Like, even he's not finishing a ban. He's not in court. He's just on gardening leave. Like, what, we couldn't organise to get him in on the first week of June? Would Arsenal be that petty and say, no, we've got intentions to try and sign a few players, and we don't want you to have Vinny for the first week? On the 8th, yeah, you can have him, but not a second before. I don't believe that for a second. So why was he allowed to? Did he have he was like, you know what, I want to get that cheap flight to Turkey. You know, I don't. None of it makes any sense, and I just think that Daniel Levy wouldn't. I don't think he'll move on without. Well, I don't think he'll even accept a bid unless it includes him staying on in some capacity for an indefinite period of time, getting paid, decent money.
So here's a question for you. So one of the theories flying around is that Vivian Lewis is annoyed. For anyone who doesn't know out there, Vivian Lewis is obviously the daughter of Joe Lewis, who is the head of the Lewis Trust Fund, right? That are now where Spurs are owned by, if I'm not wrong, right? I could have said that better, but everyone knows what I mean. One of the theories, Sean, is that she's annoyed at the way Daniel Levy has held talks with possible takeovers, possible investment, and she's now coming into, go, hang on, no, this has got to be done better because I care more about the football than you do, blah, blah, blah. If that is the case, who would deal with the sale of the club? Would it be Levy as chairman and 33% stake in ENIC, or would it be Vivian Lewis and someone like Charrington? Like, I'm asking because I genuinely don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that until now it's always been Daniel Levy, but I think the reason why Charrington's probably been sent over, as far as what I've been told, like Johnny seems to be a little bit, closer to understanding that, what that guy's role is and things. And he was telling me that he thinks that Charrington is Joe Lewis's right-hand man in Barbados. And so the fact that he's come in as a non-exec director means that he's not really a non-exec director. Is basically, you're not day-to-day operations, but you are there to consult, and you're probably paid like consultancy fees or whatever.
Such a wishy-washy title, isn't it? What are you? Yeah. I'm non-exec. I'm non-exec.
Non-exec. I'm not in
but I'm
the
a
weeds. I'm surrounding it. I'm hovering over everyone, being that kind of fly on the wall.
And I can pull rank on you. Could Charrington, if he wanted to, as a non-exec director, could he sack Ange? Like, could he walk in one day and go, "You're sacked," to Ange Postecoglou?
I don't think so. So. No, I don't know, but maybe. But honestly, I think that Joe Lewis or Vivian or whatever, I think maybe Vivian has sent him over and go, like, you need to be. I want you in the room when Daniel Levy's doing things. I want to know why it is that it's taking so bloody long to get a Qatar deal. What is it that Daniel Levy, why is he so reluctant to ever, because apparently, again, I don't know anything. So I'm saying what I've heard, but who knows if any of it's true. But apparently, like, the Qatar deal has been close on a number of occasions, but then Daniel Levy's always like pulled back a little bit. Whenever there's been some sort of progression, it gets sideways for some reason. So I don't know if that's why Charrington's in, because like the Lewis family are kind of going, what's going on down there at Tottenham? Why are we not? Why is there always a problem? So I think that this guy Charrington's been sent over almost like as a bit of a bulldog to keep an eye on Daniel Levy, which again, there's good outcomes there and bad outcomes, right? Like that might mean there's a conflict of interest. It might mean that there's butting of heads. There might be egos involved, and you don't know who's in charge because Daniel Levy is still he's 30% owner of ENIC, and ENIC own about 78 or 80% of Tottenham. So by proxy of that, Daniel Levy owns about 25% of Tottenham.
Yeah, like so. This is why it interests me. And when people talk about this takeover and blah blah blah, like who does that dealing? Who does that dealing? And does Daniel Levy have to turn around and go, yeah, I'm happy with that because I own X% of ENIC? It's listen, what I do know, and I think my man Spotlight on Spurs Luke in the chat said he does know that we just support one crazy football club. It's never dull, but I kind of agree. I feel like almost like Charrington's been put in there from March to almost have a deep dive behind the scenes of, right, report back to me. What are your findings? And he's had March, April and May to go, it's a shit show, or actually they do this and this well, but this and this isn't. And then obviously with Donna Cullen going, a lot of people start reading into that. Lots of people saying, well, hang on, she was retiring anyway. Other people saying, no, she's just the first of the tripod between Levy, Cullen and Cullicott. And now that tripod's down to a 2 and it's getting weaker. And
that's the thing, right? Imagine if, because obviously Vinny was only organised to come in after Charrington arrived, right? So Charrington arrives in March. Vinny's organised to come in like April, starting in June. Maybe Charrington has gone and got Vinny. Vinny's got a seat on the board. They've asked Donna Cullen to leave. Donna Cullen is Daniel Levy's right-hand woman who would always like be a sycophant and tell him he's right and all that stuff. So maybe there's a real power struggle that's emerging whereby, look, obviously I don't think Charrington has any voting rights as a non-exec director. I don't think that that's the way it works. I'm not sure. Obviously, there's specifics and nuances that will always be unique to every business, but I'm pretty sure that in terms of the way, but Joe Lewis could technically organize a situation where all of the board members vote for Daniel Levy to be stepped down from the board so that he could be essentially kicked back. So that's where there is some legitimacy to the story. He can still be a 30% share. You can't force him to sell, but you can obviously sell your stake in ENIC without him needing the approval because he's a minority shareholder in it. So maybe all of these things are, it's a massive leap. We don't know anything, but there is like the story doesn't have to be entirely bullshit. The fact that Vinny came in after Charrington, and the fact that Colcott's details also changed with the company's house, it's all a little bit suspicious, mate. It's all a little bit like the coincidences of the timing. It's all a little bit weird. So maybe there is truth to the fact that Matt Law said, didn't he? Matt Law said there's a massive shake-up happening at Tottenham, massive changes happening. And Matt Law is someone that's given stories by the club. He was the guy that came out and said we'd have to buy to sell before we could buy this summer if we didn't win the Europa League. So, like, I think that was a story planted by the club to prepare the fan base for a dry summer in a world where we didn't win. The fact we did, I think there's no excuse. But like, so yeah, look, I've got no idea, mate. We can speculate all day long, and I'm very happy to do so. And that's half of what my channel is. I pump out speculative hypothesis.
Yeah, of course, of course. But the thing is, listen, I've seen Spurs channels grow and grow and grow, and Spurs YouTube grow and grow and grow because people are fascinated by this club. This club really does feel like a social experiment at times. It does. 100%. If this club was a TV show, it would be like the Kardashians or something. Like, it's so bad at times, but people keep watching because they're just in awe. And look, let's move away from the kind of ownership side of things. Let's get back to the football side of things. Lots of people have different theories on what's needed this summer, Sean. Like, there are those that think, that, oh my God, we need 7 or 8. We need 7 or 8. The team's crap. Everything's crap. There are those that think, actually, we have got a decent team, but it's just not being played right, and we just need 2 or 3. which side of the fence do you land on with that? And keep in mind the homegrown rules and the club trained quota that's needed.
Yeah, the only way you're going to get the club train quota up is by getting Kyle Walker-Peters. So I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Free transfer, stick him in. So on that basis, forget about any other fullbacks.
Is there anyone else that we could get? Is he the only one we can get?
No, you can bring back. You can bring back
Skip.
You could bring back Winks. You could get Cameron Carter-Vickers back.
Hey?
Harry Kane.
Hey,
You go and get Harry Kane. Could go and get Harry Kane back.
Harry Kane.
You know?
Okay.
That's about it, I think. Or maybe the guy from Burnley, the Marcus Edwards. You could go and get him as well. You know, there's not much though, is there? Let's be honest. If our club trained track record is pretty woeful, isn't it? So yeah, and Noni Madueke's one as well. I think we could get him. So
Noni Madueke. Yeah.
But
it's kind of like who's the lesser of all the evils with that list of footballers, isn't it? None of them other than Harry Kane are changing the first 11, really, are they?
No, they're just there to fill a number. But that's the thing, right? So like I was saying this the other day, I don't want Tottenham to be pissing around when it comes to like a key position in our team, like a 6, a winger, a striker, that kind of key position where we're not strong enough in our first 11. I don't want Tottenham to be sitting there and contemplating homegrown or youth-centric transfer strategies. I'm okay with those things being baked in if you're buying a player for the squad. Like if you're buying a fullback when we've already got 3 decent fullbacks, I'm okay if the club say Kyle Walker-Peters or someone that's 21 or 19. I'm okay with all of those kind of side considerations, one for the future or for a position that isn't vital. But if you're going to tell me that we're going to go and get Angel Gomez because he's homegrown and a free transfer and he's going to be our midfield option for the summer, then I'm not okay with it. For me, for the key positions where we're weak anyway, where our first 11 is weak, all of that shit has to go out the window and you have to get the right guy for the job. Even if he comes from Mars, I don't care. If he's 45 years old, I don't care. Like if whatever the right position is, the person is, nothing else needs to be on the table other than just we need to improve in that position so we get the best guy for the job. We don't get the best guy that happens to be under the 21 or the best guy that happens to be from Scotland or England. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm okay with it if we're already strong in the position. You're just looking to improve the depth. So
no, mate, completely agree with you, and that's what I've said all along. Listen, like in isolation, do I want to sign Kyle Walker-Peters? No. Like, in isolation, no. Right, but if you're telling me, well, to get Kyle Walker-Peters, it allows us to have 60 million instead of 30 million to spend on a number 6 or a proper forward or a right wing, whatever it may be, then I'm comfortable with that. But at the same time, the club have got to, I think for once, we've just got to plan. We've got to have a plan. Like the big conversation I've just been having over with the Danalist is about the defense. And we were talking about which players would you build around. And the whole thing was, right, well, we need to build around Mickey and Kuti. And it was like, well, okay, cool. If you're going to build a strategy around Van der Ven and his pace, and you know he misses 50% of games every year, then that tells me that one of these centre-backs is not fit for purpose. And you need to go and find a quicker centre-back that can fill in when Mickey isn't available. So all of these things you've got to factor in as well, because what we can't do, Sean, is go, right, we're going to do a high line. Romero and Van der Ven can play it. When they're out, we're going to put Dragoshin and Danso in, both who are right-footed, right? Neither of them are lightning quick. Right. Well, we can't win games until Mickey's back fit again. So I just want to see some planning, Sean. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I'd also make the argument, it's a strange one, but I'd also make the argument that sometimes your blessings are a curse. And I think that sometimes like Mickey Van der Ven's obscene pace allows Ange Postecoglou to get away with it, or to participate in this mindset of a ridiculously high line where you're using the halfway line as your offside trap. And I think that if you didn't have Mickey Van der Ven, you couldn't do it. So, maybe you don't want to go and get another centre back who's got, a 100 meter time of 10 seconds, because then even if Mickey van der Ven is out injured, you're still going to maintain that high line. Whereas sometimes when Mickey van der Ven is out injured, we might actually be a little bit more dogmatic and a little bit more pragmatic and respect the other team and their ability to create chances and actually prepare and consider those things. You know, I think it's terrifying at times to think that we're going to go back to this suicide level of altitude, if you like, in our defence again next season.
We've not seen anything from this man in the league to suggest that we're not that we're not going to see that, right? That surely that's got to come into consideration.
I just hope that he's learned, mate, from the cup, right? That there's more than one way to skin a cat. You know.
Well, listen, my thing with him has always been that he seems to be able to do one or the other. So he seems to be able to be completely gung-ho and have us looking like we're going to concede 15 goals, or completely shut up the shop at the back, but have us look like we're never going to have any shots in a game, right?
Yeah.
like the final.
Ange Ball or Ange Wall, yeah.
Right, Ange Ball, whatever you want to call it. He's got to find that. He's got to find that middle ground. He's got to find a way of, right, we don't need to stick 10 men behind the ball, but we need to be solid at the back, but we need to be able to get people into more dangerous positions. And that, for me, is where people like Eze, Leroy Sané come into it.
Yeah.
People that get the ball, carry it up the pitch, and you go, Mavericks. They can do something out of nothing. I want to ask you about those two. What hopes do you have? Those two seem to be the names. It doesn't matter which names we're linked with. We seem to keep coming back to Eze and Sané. What hopes do you have? The chance of getting those two? One's on a free, but will cost 250 grand a week in wages. The other one is rumored to be 65 to 68 million and will cost you, 200 grand a week. Reckon we can get them both?
Yeah, I can, but after that, I think you're pretty much. I mean, look, Sané's as a free transfer, right? So you can then just make the finances work with regards fees and things. You can front load them or late load them depending on your cash flow. I think the cash flow is going to be tight. With Eze, I think it's going to be a real difficult one, and I think I really hope that Tottenham aren't going to have to go and pay 68 million. I think if Crystal Palace hold the line and just say you're not getting them unless you trigger that clause, then I think it might be a problem. But I think all intimations are surely that he wants to go and that Crystal Palace will kind of make some sort of deal, even if it means that we've got to pay 70 million quid and also, or say 60 million quid and throw in Manor Solomon or throw in whatever, throw in a Bissouma maybe or something. I just want to ask you. So Johnny brought this guy to my attention today. I went and checked him out. I'd never heard of him before. Have you heard of a player called Arden Jashari?
That's the third person that's asked me about this guy today, and no, I haven't. But I've heard a lot about him in one day.
Mate, his stats are fucking insane. And I was like, yeah, but stats are stats, whatever. And then I went and watched. I looked him up on the Y Scout, mate, and he looks like an absolute baller. Now he's doing it in the Belgium league. He plays for Club Bruges, but he's 22 years old, I think. 22 years old. Yeah, he's from Switzerland and plays for Club Bruges. He's a defensive midfielder, and he's just someone that's just listen to some of these stats, right? Some of these stats. This guy, in terms of carries, so his total carrying distance per 90 is 352 meters. So he's the number one ball carrier in terms of carrying distance. 352 meters, mate. That's insane. But it's insane. I think the next highest ball carrying per distance is like 307 or something. He carries the ball like half a 100-meter sprint more than everyone else. But on top of that, so he touches the ball 73 times a game, but he carries the ball. He goes on a carry 55 times a game. Like, so every single time, 70% of the time that he touches the ball in midfield, his first thought is just to turn and run with it. And he gets dispossessed fewer than anybody else. Like this guy is just like it's like sticky glue. The ball is sticky glue to his feet. But I would say he comes across to me like the kid on the playground when there was like 80 people playing in a game. And no one, when you got the ball, there was no chance you were ever going to pass. You were just going to try and dribble it around 40 people and slot it top bins, and never did. This guy was the playground selfish little prick. But my God, mate, his stats are absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
Listen, I don't know a lot about him, but I'm more than happy to go and look. I mean, the player that I've liked from Club Bruges is the right winger, who I looked at.
Yeah, you mentioned him. Yeah.
But this is the thing. There are players all over Europe, and this is what annoys me when I see us with lazy links. You know, like lazy links, and I just think, come on, who's scouting? Who's around the world getting these links in? But listen, the one that everyone I think wants to see, and by the way, for anyone watching, Fabrizio Romano has said that Inter Milan in the last 15 minutes have asked Como for permission to speak to Cesc Fabregas as their new manager. So it looks like Inzaghi's going for £25 million a year to Saudi. Fair play to the lad. And Cesc Fabregas going to Inter Milan. So that's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on that one. Eze, Sean, is surely the one that
it'd be class. Yeah, it'd be class.
Most people want to see. Would that represent for you? And let me ask everyone in the chat as well. We always talk about marquee. We need a marquee signing. Would Eze represent that for you as a marquee signing?
Yeah. You get him and Sane, but Sane's a marquee signing as well, even though he's free. You get Sane and Eze, and I think everyone goes, "Oh, interesting." Tottenham have just absolutely transformed their forward. I imagine like James Maddison and Eze working together. Also, the fact that Eze can like multi-position and like be in the 10 if he needs to be, can play off the left. I don't think he can play off the right, so to speak, so much. But I think that it paves the way to let go of Sonny, and make that sort of make that left hand side his own. Sonny can play bit part minutes or whatever. Obviously, it puts paid to the Tell deal in all likelihood. But yeah, man, if you can get Eze and Sane in sort of before the end of June, then
can you see that on the screen?
Yeah.
See, it's not showing at my end that it's on the screen. It's showing, it says, do I want to stop screen? But as you can see there, and play about that with however you want, look how different and frightening that forward line looks.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable.
Doesn't it?
Unbelievable. And then Polini just sitting in there tidying things up, handing it over to Maddison and Bergvall to do the biz.
Absolutely.
Simple, isn't it?
And that way, you don't actually have to invert Porro and Udogie. You can invert them a little bit, but you don't actually need to, because you've got Eze who's going to stretch the game. Leroy Sane is going to stretch the game. James Maddison, you're then turning around to Maddison and saying, stay in the middle, mate. Create. Be a playmaker.
So would you be happy with those? So Maddison, Eze, Sane, Polinia, Kyle Walker-Peters, and then you're good, are you? That's not a bad window, or would you need one more?
Look, I think that has that gone off my screen, by the way. Sorry to ask. I don't know what's happened with my StreamYard, my end, mate. I don't even know if I'm on the right of the screen or the left. Chrome, yeah. I don't know why to think about that. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it's fine. This is the first time it's ever happened to me. But this is the point, right? With those two signings, possibly a Paulinho on a loan, Kyle Walker-Peters to cover homegrown, club trained, and the fullback areas. And then for me, I'd still like another striker. But even without that, suddenly I've got goals from Eze, I've got goals from Sane, I've got goals from Maddison. Solanke will chip in with goals. Bergvall, I'd like to think, as he develops as a footballer, will get more goals from midfield. Suddenly I look at that and go, I'd quite like to watch that.
Yeah,
and all I've done there is only 3 players.
Yeah, and if something happens to Bergvall, you've got Bentancur, right?
Yeah.
The only problem though is if you lose Polinia to an injury, or he can't play every week because he's 31. I just wonder then, like, so who are you letting go first and foremost? Because we did this. Terry O'Shea sent over the club trained homegrown thing, and it looks like from the Champions League perspective, we only have one more space. And you'd have to sell Bissouma, and possibly one more if you wanted to bring in Sane and say a Polinia or a Hugo Larsson or a Morten Højlund or whoever. So you'd need one more removal of or you just leave out someone from the Champions League squad.
Yeah, but again, I want to see Spurs be ruthless. I think we have too many conversations every year. Not me and you. I think as fans, we have too many conversations every year where we go, "Would you sell this guy?" "Oh, I'd give him a chance." I'm like, no, hang on. If it means bringing in starters, see you later, right? If it means that.
So in the midfield, what's your pecking order?
I'll be honest. I'm a bit like meh with all of them. I think it all depends. For Basuma to play, you've got to play him the right way. He's got to be played as a box to box. He's not a DM. He's not an attacking
100%.
midfielder. He's got to play as a box to box, most likely in a double pivot or in front of the number 6.
So you get rid of Basuma's the first one on the list to go, right?
Yeah, I think if Tottenham Hotspur right now said Yves Bissouma is available for transfer, I think you'll have 6, 7, 8 Premier League clubs all after him. I truly do. I think he'd be brilliant at a Wolves, brilliant at an Everton, brilliant at a Brentford.
Forest.
You know, Forest, absolutely perfect Nuno type player. Sarr is such an enigma to me.
100%.
I don't know what he is.
I don't know what system he fits. Yeah, I don't know.
Every now and then he has games where I go, yeah. But in general,
I completely agree.
But again, is Papa Sarr struggling because he's not being coached and not being given a set position and X amount of game? I don't know.
I think his passing's horrendous. When he's galloping with the ball with his long legs, I think his brain is working at a different speed with his feet. And I think he just gives the ball away too much. And I lost count the amount of times that we got transitioned on because his final pass was shit. But you're right. When he can turn it on, he can pop up with a goal. He can pop up in decent areas. But he's just not clinical to me. He's not someone that's going to give you 8 goals a season, 7 goals a season from the 8. And he's not someone that's a brilliant defensive midfielder. So he's a box to box. The thing that I think he's outstanding at is anticipation and interception. I think he can read when the opposition have got the ball, like he did in the final. But there's a never-ending list of examples of him when he intercepts the ball well, when he reads a pass that the opposition are going to make, and they don't give him the credit for how quickly he can cut the ball out because of his long legs. But apart from that, covers a lot of blades of grass. That's about it.
He's a great squad option. I just don't know if ever I was picking an 11, if I'd say I definitely have to have this guy in my team in that position or that position. But look, I said this on a show just now, Sean. If I woke up tomorrow and most of these players were gone, I won't lose sleep over any of them. There are some that I like, but this isn't like the days where it was like, oh, what do you mean Gareth Bale's leaving? What do you mean Modric is leaving? What do you mean Teddy Sheringham and Robbie Keane and Jermaine Defoe? So if I woke up tomorrow and either Bentancur, Sarr or Bissouma had gone, I genuinely don't think I'd be bothered. But we always come back to this. Are we going to replace them? Because last summer we let Højbjerg go and essentially replaced him with Archie Gray.
It's a massive mistake, that was. Yeah.
So, and I was comfortable. But by the way, I'm not going to be a revisionist here. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my God, I wanted Højbjerg. I didn't want Højbjerg. But if you let him go,
I was happy for him to go, but I think as the season panned out, we needed him.
But only because we didn't replace him and we brought in Archie Gray, right? So for me, what's your order then? If I said to you, keep, bench, sell, or start, bench, and sell between Bentancur, Sarr, and Bissouma, what order are you going? And play with us in the chat, everybody. Bench, start, sell.
I'd be okay. Honestly, I'd be okay selling all 3 of them, to be entirely honest. I'm not that. I think the entire midfield is the only midfielder that we have that I really like is Bergvall. I think he's really good. And Archie Gray, I could even make the argument to say he needs a loan.
I agree.
But you're not going to
completely agree, because when do you give him next season? If you're going to be playing your best team, Premier League, Champions League, when does Archie Gray get game time? For me, do you know what I'd do? If I'm talking to the teams that have been relegated, like Leicester City, right? I'm talking to, can't even think who went down, Ipswich, and I'm saying, can you guarantee him game time? Teams that are going to be at the top of the Championship, can you guarantee this guy game time? If you can, go there, play. No point in going to Leeds United. Leeds United are not going to want a 19-year-old as the anchor in their midfield in a relegation battle. They're not. They're just not. They're going to want
their own boy back. Did he come from Leeds? He did come from Leeds, didn't he? Yeah,
he did. But there's a difference on him being in the Championship in midfield and then suddenly going, hang on, for 2 years you've not played DM, but come and be our DM in a relegation battle.
Yeah. I don't think he gets into the Burnley team either. Maybe he does. I don't even know who's in the Sunderland team. Well, Joe Bellingham. So you don't want to get in front of Joe Bellingham. Like, he's a
Well,
different
Joe
type of player.
Bellingham's going to Borussia Dortment for 40 million euros, isn't he?
Oh, is he? Oh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Fuck. Okay.
that was what Romano and Ornstein said this morning, that the release clause is 40 million euros. But even then, if you're Burnley,
would you sell Archie Gray would get your money back on him right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sean, because I tell you why I would.
It's fair enough. Yeah.
I'll tell you why I would.
Oh,
The biggest thing for me, what I said last summer, and this is not personal against Archie Gray. This is not personal against him. But the biggest thing I said last summer was we'd already knew, sorry, that was terrible grammar. We already knew that we had signed Bergvall in January and that he was coming to us in the summer. So we already knew we had an 18-year-old midfielder that we needed to bring in, we needed to coach, we needed to develop, and he had to break into the first team. So then when you let Højbjerg go and you go, right, what are we going to do? Right, we're going to get another 18-year-old kid that needs to get in. Hang on, now we've got Bergvall and Gray. You ain't playing two 18-year-olds in central midfield in the Premier League. So for me, if somebody turned around and said 35, 40 million, yes, but what I'd want to do before we do that, I'd want to send him out on a year-long loan and say, right, let's see what he does. Not a right back, not a centre back. What does he do week in, week out in centre mid? Because for me, Sean,
you can't. For me, like, you paid £40 million for a player. I want to. Like, I don't think the Championship is a good enough level. There's a reason why all three teams that go up come down again. So, like, for me, like, if you still think he's Championship level, then you've clearly massively overpaid for him. And it's a mistake. Not a mistake necessarily, but like, it looks like it's a bit of a tall order for him to show his value. He's only on a 6-year contract, and he didn't do anything last year that's going to make you put him in the team. This year, you're sending him to a lower level. I think that if you can find, do you think he could get into a Fulham?
No. And Sean, this is my point, right? It's exactly what I was about to say to you. If you are one of the 3 promoted teams, right, you need experience, you need ball winners, you need somebody that's been there, seen it and done it and can steady the ship in a relegation battle, right?
Yeah.
If you are Fulham, he is not getting in above Harry Reid.
Vandenberg,
he's not getting above Sander Berg. He's not getting in above Lukic. If you're Wolves, he's not getting in above Gomez and above Andre. I genuinely don't know. Not getting in
ahead of Ibrahim Sangare at Forest or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is my problem with him. We've bought this kid that seems to be a bit of a luxury, because when I've seen him at central midfield, he hasn't got that, like that.
Not big enough. He's not. Yeah, he's like a nice boy. He's like the Brennan Johnson of the midfield role. Yeah.
Bang on. Yeah, you look like you could blow him and he'd fall over.
Yeah.
And that's okay if you're a brilliant deep line playmaker that gets the ball, sprays it about. But I don't think his passing's good. I don't think his I feel for him. I feel for the lad. I don't think he should be at Tottenham Hotspur. I feel for him. I know everyone just thinks I hate him.
You know what? I was really excited when I watched back last summer's like video on my channel, and it was the one where I was like 40 million. I was like, I really like him from what I've seen of him. I saw him again this game, that game. I saw him take on the Chelsea lot and all that, you know, like everyone else. And I've looked at him on the Y-Scout. So I really do. I think the guy's got a lot of talent. I was like, but 40 million quid is punchy for a guy that's never played a minute of Premier League football. It's like, but I really do like him. But I think because I put that line in the sand saying it's punchy, but I'm on board it, I think I then felt guilty of I was guilty of having like a positivity bias towards his value. But I think in the cold light of the day, I think he's worth half the money that we paid. Like, maybe not even that. Like, I think it was like 15, 20 million plus massive add-ons should he develop into the right player, or a sell-on fee or something in the future. But to pay 35, 40 or whatever we paid for him, Leeds have done us over a barrel, haven't they?
Sean, I think when you go and buy young players, I think you've got to have one or two paths for them, right? You can go down the Crystal Palace route, who clearly, when they bought Wharton, said that boy's going straight into our 11, and fair play to Crystal Palace, they did, and fair play to him. In 6 months, he went from Blackburn to in the England Euro squad, right?
Yeah.
Or you buy them at 5 to 10 million and say, this is a long-term project. What Spurs did was a hybrid of both of those things, Sean, where we bought the player in for big money, didn't put him straight in the 11, He's not better than any of the other midfielders we've got. And there's loads of people that keep trying to tell me he's better than Basuma. And I'm like, no, he's not. He's not better than Yves Basuma. He's better than Sarr. Well, I haven't seen anything to suggest that. He's not better than Bentancur. He's not better than Bergvall. And you're right. I think we've been bent over a barrel, Sean. I really do. I think it's a huge, in the short term, it's a huge waste of resource and revenue. It really is.
There's two things that he needs to do. One is he needs to get a little bit of steel, which I think confidence is a very powerful thing. But I think that two things. I think he needs to get in the person, whoever he needs to hang around more with Bergvall and Decky. Decky took Bergvall under his wing, and they both spend 2 hours in the gym every day. And look at Bergvall; he's put on about like 1.5 stone in muscle over the last 12 months. Archie Gray looks like he get blown over by a strong gust of wind. And on top of that, Archie Gray doesn't look like he has that tenacity. He doesn't look like he has that kind of. And again, I don't know him. We haven't seen enough of him in that position. We're judging him as a midfielder when we've seen him play there probably 3 times, and all of them were terrible performances. But again, they were all in the league, and everybody else was terrible. So maybe we're guilty of kind of like making a mountain out of a molehill here. But I think you can only work on the sample that you've got, and the sample isn't great. But I think that if he would help himself no end if he was to go and spend all summer smashing it in the gym and go and put on 0.5 stone of real muscle, get a little bit more feisty, get a little bit more strong, because he does get knocked over too easy. And then I don't know if you can train someone to just have a bit more bite in their personality, but he doesn't seem like he's got
like
that
a nice lad, doesn't he?
Nice guy, yeah, sort of guy you wouldn't mind your daughter going out with, sort of thing.
Against Wharton, when I watch Adam Wharton, he looks like he's got that little bit of something in him, like a little bit like a Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher looks like a nice lad. Get him on the football pitch, he's a terrier, right? He goes for everybody and anything. Gray, as I said, Gray for me, I can't see where he gets game time. We'll come back to this in 1 sec. Let's just do a couple of quick super chats. Yeah, no big up to Phil P, who said on the tear
with Shawnee was amazing. Screwdrivers. Right. Or he's saying screwed rivers.
I'm guessing screwdriver is in the shot, the drink.
Yeah, the drink. It was vodka and oranges. We had these massive vodka and oranges at like 4 o'clock in the morning. We were walking around Bilbao trying to find it anywhere that was open because Phil had just arrived with his dad and Danny Kiriakou and I forget who else. And I was like, mate, there's nowhere open. We're done. He's like, there's always somewhere open. And we walked around for about 20 minutes and found somewhere. And it was like 85 degrees in that pub. I was sweating absolute like balls. And Phil, I think I went up and bought 8 shots of tequila. And the only people that had them were me, Phil, and Phil's dad. We had like 3 each or something. It was madness.
The number of times I've been in London and like it's like, oh, everywhere's shut. No, we can find somewhere. I'm sure I've been down this road and oh my gosh,
there's always somewhere. Are you still not drinking?
No. I've had a couple of beers, but nothing like I used to.
Good man.
Do nothing like I used to do. I've had to change for many reasons, but we won't go into that live on stream. We'll talk about that off stream. Sure. But big up to you, Phil P. I liked Screwed Rivers. Actually, that was good. That was better. Another one, Cyprus Phil Insane in the park lane. Right, I've got it. Okay, yeah, Insane in the park lane. Yeah, okay, got it. You want Sane? Yeah, got it. Thank you very much, Cyprus Phil, not Cypress Hill. Well done, Phil. You're on fire tonight, mate. Absolutely funny guy. Big up to you, Phil. Thank you very much. Terry O'Shea has said it's only 17 spaces, Sean, in Europe. So we've already 2 players over. As things stand, we need to sell or not register 3 players just to sign 1 player. Quite simply, Terry, we're going to have to let players go, right? You're going to have to. And does Ben Davies count as one of those 17?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have to let Davies go, let Basuma go, it's.
Yeah, I think also you wouldn't have to. You wouldn't like. You're probably not going to register Dragusin for at least the first one because he's out injured for a long time, as is Decky, right? I mean, Johnny seems to say that. I think Johnny's saying this from a place of knowledge rather than a place of supposition. I don't know, but he's saying that Decky's knee is like fucked, so he's going to be out until February. So then you don't even have to like register Decky either.
Decky's out until February.
apparently he's out for a long, long time. That's what Johnny said. I don't know, but like his knees absolutely like because he had an operation, didn't he, to fix his patella?
Yeah.
You know? So and like coming from someone who's dislocated his knees 4 or 5 times playing rugby when I was younger, like I mean, I know they've got the best in the business. Well, actually, at Tottenham they don't, but generally speaking, sports people have the best in the business in terms of rehab. But like your knee's never quite the same after you've had a kneecap dislocation or whatever it was that happened to him. You know, so yeah, he might be out for a long time. So yeah, on that basis, you might not even have to register him either. So maybe Dragusin and Decky don't get registered in the first squad.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, look, Terry, thank you very much for that. Yeah, it's all very interesting. And I think these are a lot of times, as you messaged me earlier, Terry, a lot of times I don't think sometimes fans think about these things when we talk about sign him. Don't think we think about these homegrown things and the squad. But yeah, thank you very much for that. And then a massive super chat there. Thank you, Alex, who has said, thanks for the content. Makes work go by faster. Well, listen, I'm glad because that's what we're here for, right? We're here to hopefully let people listen in, cuss us, love us, whatever they want to do. He said, both you and Sean have been killing it lately. A Frank over Ange. I won't go into that last comment, but yeah, listen, appreciate you. We will give you shows every day throughout this transfer window. Some will be together, some will be alone, some will be other creators, but big up to you. That is very, very generous. If my man Alex there can stick in £20, you lot can smash a like button. There are 694 people in here and 218 likes. Come on, guys. Like, this is not right. And also, please do subscribe to Sean. He's been very generous to give us his time this evening, and subscribe to me. We are chasing down 18.2k now, so we're flying in the last couple of days. So please do subscribe to me, subscribe to Sean, and please do smash that like button. We should have 400 minimum. Yeah, sorry, Sean. Back to the Gray thing. I think the interesting thing is we didn't manage to get the guy midfield game time this year, whilst in the Europa League. Surely the chances of him getting midfield game time when we're in the Champions League, that's going to be even slimmer, right?
Yeah, and I hear you, but then because of the homegrown, because of those quotas and that, can you really let go of a guy? I'm just trying to think out loud here. Like, you know,
sure.
Are you going to do it? Also, like, you know, if you sign just out of curiosity, like Angel Gomez, he isn't a 6, mate. He is an 8 that leans more like a Kobe Mainu type player. Like, and I'm thinking, well, where's the space? But all reports are saying that, you know, he wants to accept the Tottenham offer. And I'm like, well, where does he fit in?
Yeah.
Where does he fit in? Is this just one of those things where Daniel Levy smells a bargain because he's on a freebie, and then as soon as he gets him on a 3 or 4 year deal, then you can sell him next summer for 25 million because he's homegrown English tax, all that sort of thing. But I don't mind Angel Gomez. I think he's a good player, tricky, intricate, good little passer, reads the game nicely. Nothing to dislike about him with the ball at his feet at the top end of the pitch. But he certainly isn't going to come in, and I don't think he's nowhere near as tenacious as like Lucas Bergvall. Certainly Bentancur's ahead of him in the kind of defensive side of the game. So I'm just sitting there thinking, like, the only way you could loan up Archie Gray out is if you were to bring in another homegrown, and that would be a joke. That would be Angel Gomez. But then I don't really want Angel Gomez anyway. I really want someone like Hugo Larsson or Morten Højlund from Holmund, whatever his name is, from Sporting. He'd be quality.
There's some links with him today, apparently. I mean, listen, I always take the links with a pinch of salt unless I see Romano, Ornstedt, you know, unless you see somebody with real good connections. But there are links with him. But I think the interesting thing for me is there's lots of people saying, got to keep Archie, got to keep him. Cool. I just don't know where he plays. And then if like you're saying, Sean, you then do bring in an Angel Gomez. Again, I don't think he's the worst footballer I've seen. He looks neat. He looks tidy. But again, where? If Bergvall's going to be this number 8 and you're keeping Bentancur as well, you know, if Madison and Becky, where does he fit in? Oh, is that purely because he's free and he's English? Like, I don't know if it feels planned to me more than opportunistic.
Yeah, it feels like it's a business decision rather than what does the team need it? You don't need Angel. Tottenham do not need Angel Gomez. He's not a significant upgrade on any 8 we have in any way, shape, or form. Question marks over his body his strength, his size, right? I think that he'll get blown over. Imagine him coming up against like the Newcastle midfield three. He'll just get absolutely. It'll be like men versus boys,
Right. See, now this is my big thing. So when I'm seeing people, like there's loads of people in the chat that I always say things like, "Oh, leave the boy alone." It's not about that. If I remove my emotion of the young lad and his feelings, I want what's best for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
And if I look at Newcastle's midfield of Joe Linton, Gomares, and Tonali, it's got everything. And
Monster.
how powerful is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Now
even Bentancur struggled. Bentancur's our biggest midfielder, and he's like bullied off the ball in every single time by Joe Linton. I mean, Joe Linton's just an absolute beast of a guy, isn't he? Did Joe Linton elbow Bergvall? Was it Bergvall that got an elbow this year from him? It was someone in our team got an elbow from Joe Linton.
Somebody. But even when I was watching, so the game I was watching a few weeks back was Bournemouth at home to Aston Villa. And just even watching Onana, whatever you think of him play, he was brushing aside Bournemouth's two midfielders. And I feel like we need a man in there. We need a guy that is
Ederson. He's the sort of guy you want, isn't he, from Atalanta? And apparently he's looking at. I mean, because Bruno Fernandes turned down Saudi, so now Saudi are looking at Ederson.
Yeah.
If Ederson doesn't want to just sort of destroy his career, he can change. He's young enough to be able to put off Saudi for 3-4 years. Come to the Premier League, Although I could see like Aston Villa getting Ederson. I could see him in an Aston Villa team for some reason. I don't know why.
No, I think he's a perfect Unai Emery player. Yeah, I agree. I get the feeling that Ederson, Brazilian, right?
Yeah.
I get the feeling that Ederson will go there because a lot of the Brazilians tend to do this. They will tend to go where the big money is, and a lot of them send it back home. I'm not sorry. I know that's a sweeping generalization, but whereas Bruno Fernandes has turned it down, and fair play, whatever you think of Bruno, fair play to that. And have you seen what he said tonight, Bruno Fernandes?
No.
It was really interesting. He's come out and said, listen, Al Hilal wanted me. He said, Man United said, it's up to me, but they don't need the money, so they don't need to sell me, and they want me to stay here. I want to play in the top league in Europe. So I thought that was, first of all, I think that's really good that he said, Man, you wouldn't have stood in my way, but I talked to my wife and I want to be here. So he's turned down.
So he's not that he wants to go somewhere else. He's staying at United.
I mean,
who else is going to pay 100 million for him?
Well, there you go. But I mean, fair play. If Man United are saying no, we don't want 100 million.
Where are they getting their money from then? Are they selling their left arm for their right arm and loaning it back?
Well, Højlund is in talks with Inter Milan, right?
How much are they going to get? They paid 70 million quid for him.
Mate, I don't know, but Højlund, Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho. Apparently there's going to be like 9 to 12 players at United. And if you start getting 20s here, 30s there, they add up. Right? It does add up. Let's just have a look at this comment quickly. Let me get the super chats and then I'll go to a comment that I liked. Rick Kane, big up to you. Thank you. Very generous, my friend. Thank you very much. I said Spurs really killing the momentum and goodwill from the Europa. One big early signing could have set the tone. Love to back and forth from you two. Oh, love the back and forth from you two. Yeah, listen, Sean, it's taken many years of Sean and I working together to get to this stage. Don't worry about that. It didn't happen overnight. It was, it was a work in progress. Lots of coaching. Rick, I think you're right. What would have been lovely would have been, hang on, we've won the Europa League, Champions League qualification. 2 weeks later, boom, Eze. And you go, oh, we mean business. Last year, our first signing, if anyone remembers it, was Timo Werner again on a season-long run.
Don't remind me.
And it's right. It kind of set the tone, Rick. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Leroy Sané isn't interested in a move to Tottenham, according to Alto Belly via Emiya Sanmia, whoever that is.
Love it. Oh, dearie me. Don't worry. It's going to be Tell. Andy Lester has said, with Son not on the kit launch, is he gone this year? I've seen reports this year, today, Sean, that who sent me the report today? It was someone, I think it was Graham Bay. No, somebody with a name I know has said, look, that Spurs are going to cash in on Son, hence why they've extended, triggered the 1 year. It makes sense, doesn't it, Sean, to get money for him this summer, or would you keep him for another year?
Well, if we're not going to get another winger in like Sane, I'm okay with Sonny going. If you can go and get £40 million from Saudi, of course, mate. There's three parts to it. Like we've seen it with the Bruno Fernandes deal. Does Sonny want to go? If Sonny wants to go, at some point, you have to sunset the story. Right? At some point, you've kicked your last game, whether it's now or in 3 years' time. But there's no better way for him to say goodbye than to leave with his last ever kick of a ball being in the Europa League final that we won and he was the captain of. Like, it's just a perfect sunset story. And if he stays and his decline continues, then you run the risk of like being remembered the way a lot of Tottenham fans remember Hugo Lloris. You know, like who remembers Hugo Lloris fondly right now? Very few. Most people remember the version of him that walked off the pitch at halftime 5-0 down to Newcastle and never put his gloves back on again. And he was a great goalkeeper for Tottenham. But like the last couple of years was spoilt it, right? And I just don't want that to happen with Sonny. So
and for me, it's already heading that way because the last year and year and a half, I'm watching him and going, "Oh, we're playing you through sentiment rather than you actually being the main man now." You
100%.
know,
losing Harry Kane, it was like Batman and Robin, and Sonny was Robin, right? Like great dynamic duo, but when Batman leaves, like Robin just looks like a clown wearing a red and yellow and green suit or cape. You know, I just feel like Sonny's not the player that he was, and I think that maybe you could convince Sonny to go to Bayern Munich and link back up with Harry Kane. Maybe that would be the great way for him to finish his career, or bring Harry Kane back, and then maybe you get like a swan song, like an Indian summer out of Sonny. But like at this stage, Sonny without Kane in a Tottenham shirt, it just doesn't work anymore. And I don't want to remember Sonny, as anything other than a legend. So I think it's the right time to say goodbye.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Ed, I was so gutted when Gabby Vega left Europe to go to Saudi at such a young age. He was absolutely superb. I can't say I've seen him since he's been in Saudi. He's a very, very good footballer. Yet he's going to Porto, taking a massive pay cut, and I'll be surprised if we don't see him at a bigger club anytime soon. But yeah, that's what happens. And then this question was quite interesting. Braithwaite, 30 million plus Richie. Would you two take that rumor today?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
fucking right, I would.
you
I like Gareth Braithwaite's quality, and Richie I think is absolutely useless. So yeah, I 100% I'd take that. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to think, and this comes back to who's in charge at the moment of our transfers, who's in charge of the club, because I'd love to think that somebody dynamic is running the transfer show for us, right?
Yeah,
and he's going. I'll tell you what we could do. Braithwaite might be available. We might have to get Richie to them. 30 million. I'm biting your hand off for this as a deal.
Yeah, 100%.
Braithwaite for me looks like, if I'm not wrong, isn't he a left-sided centre half as well?
Yeah, and left-footed, so very rare,
right?
Super rare.
Right.
He's fast, mate. He's fast. He's quality in the air. He's strong physically. He can read the game. He's not the best passer yet. Like he can't ping the balls like Romero can, but then very few centre backs can. But and I don't think he's really been tested, obviously, in a higher line because Everton don't play that way. So that's a bit of an unknown. But he's not. He's certainly not a slouch. He's like I say, he's a big, strong, strapping guy, and he's fast and he's brilliant in the air. Like so, there's a weakness for me. Tottenham are weak in the air at times at the back. So for me, I think that I don't believe for a second that Everton would allow him to leave for 30 plus Richie. Not a chance. But if he could get it done 100%.
Big up to Patriotic Gentleman. I'll tell you what. I like that. I might get that put on a t-shirt, Sean. What do you reckon? Sava the bottle job? I mean, it's one of the less offensive I get. I mean,
yeah. It's not bad. Yeah, that's a compliment.
I'll take that.
It's a compliment versus what I've been called today. That's actually a compliment.
What I'd love to know is what have I bottled? That would be good to know. He's then come back in and said, Sava, why do you think 7th is better than winning the Europa League? I mean, I can't remember at any point saying that. I don't know where people get this stuff from. Big up to you, Patriotic Gentleman. Love it. What a gentleman you are. The only gentleman I know that uses the term bottle job. No, the gentlemen I know don't speak like that. Sean, I don't know how long you got. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah. Go on, have a go for another 15, whatever you want.
Look, there's lots of reports. There are lots of reports. We are linked with this player, that player. For me, I just think we need to get to the end of this window, and it needs to be a window that pacifies the fan base. I really do. I think if we have another window like last year, like when we've got in the Champions League previously, and we've all gone, sorry, is that it for a Champions League campaign?
Yeah.
Can you see there being any legs? Obviously, like with there's been a lot of stuff going on with change for Tottenham and the protests and all that. I'm not belittling those guys, but
they'll be back. They'll be back within 10 games. I think change for Tottenham will be back by about September.
Yeah,
because I think the season's going to start terribly, regardless of the outcome, and Daniel Levy will be the full guy for that.
Absolutely. Oh yes, he's included you. I feel less shame now. He's included you. You're crap as well.
You, mate. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Patch. I tell you what would be really good. Put it in a super chat. That would make me feel so much better. I'll tell you what. I'll give you 5 free swear words. Just put it in a super chat. But do you think this could be a summer that sways people, though, Sean, that are maybe a little bit on the fence with that type of stuff if he doesn't go and get the likes of Eze's, the likes of Guahy's, Edison's, the types of players that people want?
Yeah, look, I think, like I said, we've said already, mate, I think that the start to the window, we're only day 3 or whatever, and there's 1,000 players out there. Like, if we go, now Sane's not coming or he's not interested, if that's true, that's it. Typical Tottenham. But there's 1,000 other wingers that will be brilliant players as well. You just got to find them. So it's not the end of the world. But I just want to see some intent. But for me, if I'm entirely honest, like the window going one way or the other is always going to be subjective. But I think what's kind of becoming quite clearly objective, and this is not an easy thing for me to say because I'm someone that has always traditionally lent into a more like sort of sympathetic version of how I feel about the owner. But I think that the way that this club appears to be acting right now, is really fucking weird and shockingly amateurish. And that to me, I think, is something that I'm getting pissed off about. And if I'm getting pissed off about it, then I'm guessing everybody else that's already that any stick will do. They'll be jumping on it if it continues in this vein. And as I say, I do genuinely think, though, that regardless of whatever decision Levy makes with Ange, new owner, a new manager, same manager, even with a blockbuster window, if the next season starts and we're 2 wins from 10, the fan base will have a reason to bash Daniel Levy. And I think the protests will be... The protests are sort of sitting there right now. The change for Tottenham are sitting there biding their time, but they are waiting for a reason to kind of get that thing going again. It's not like their mind is made up that Levy's the wrong guy, and so it doesn't really matter what happens between now and the next opportunity. Even if we do everything right, the second that there is an opportunity to get a protest going, it will be started again. So like those people are already like they're very much on the, he's not the guy, we want him gone. All of the good things that may or may not happen, but over the next 2 or 3 months, all of that stuff will be forgotten the second that there is a clear-cut opportunity to put it back together. So it's not really an impartial, I don't think, an impartial movement. It's very much like, we're just waiting for the next opportunity to rattle, to saber rattle. And I think that they will genuinely have that opportunity within 10 games of next season. Because Daniel Levy can't win in this situation. Even if he picks the right manager and the manager starts well, that doesn't mean that Daniel Levy gets a pat on the back. That's going to be a congratulations to the new manager. But if anything bad happens, it's going to be entirely at Daniel Levy's feet.
Look, I think you're absolutely right. For Levy to come out of this as I don't like hero and villain. I think they're 2 silly words, but I think for Levy to come out of this with praise, if he does sack Ange, he needs to get the right manager that hits the ground running, because fans, this is the thing, fans will completely forget that we were losing every single week in the Premier League last year. And what they'll do at the beginning of next season is they won't give the new manager 10 games. They won't. They will literally go, well, hang on, we've lost 4 of our first 7. We've lost 5 of our first 10.
Mate, if we lose 2-1 to Liverpool on the first game, first day of the season, we lose 2-1 away at Anfield with a 93rd minute winner, I can already see what's going to happen. Brian
Ange
Daigle
will
going
run
on
that.
We Are Tottenham TV. That owner of ours, this was club will never change. Mate, we had 2 chances to win it. Yeah, but it's Daniel Levy. You know, you can just. And I love Brian Daigle to pieces, but he's just an example. You know what I mean? It's like it will be. It will be that. That's like it's this constant like. The first opportunity that seems legitimate will be the time when the saber starts to rattle again. You know.
So why is our fan base so obsessed with big names who were good 5 years ago? Some of you look were crying about not getting Chiesa last summer. Do you still want him? I don't even think it's about big names. As I've said before, I want that level that is in between the big names and the ones that we normally buy, that are the little names. I think we always do this. It's either the Archie Grays of this world, Sean, or everyone wants the Kevin De Bruyne's. There is a lot of footballers in this bracket. There's the Mbuemos, the Eze for me is a brilliant footballer. I'm not going to put him in the bracket of, oh my God, he's world class. But I do put him in the bracket of, if Tottenham want him, we should be able to get him, because Crystal Palace, for as well as they are run.
Would you take Sander Berg from Fulham?
Absolutely.
How much would he cost?
I'd take Sander Berg. I'll tell you why.
Sander Berg is quality. He's a class
season
player.
Pro, right? Season pro. He's one of them. Every week gives you a 7 out of 10 without ever getting talked about as the star man. But I reckon he's the sort of player that when he plays for you, the fan base really appreciate him.
100%.
Like, all the work he puts in, all the ground that he covers. But again, I remember last season mentioning Sander Berg, and people are going, "What, that bloke from Sheffield United?" It's like, yeah, listen, he's a good midfielder. He gets on with it. But listen, I think there's loads of players like that. Sander Berg, Eze, Mbuemo, Vissa. It doesn't have, build a team. It doesn't have to be a team.
At Brighton would be a good 6. Like that's not like a superstar, but it's a good player. Yeah, there's loads and loads and loads of them, mate. And
many.
Yeah. Even Damsgaard's a good player. Destiny's saying there. I like Damsgaard as well. I think he and you know what was interesting about Damsgaard is that if he was at Tottenham, people would have written him off because he had a really slow, struggling start. But then he just kicked in, and now that position is his own. He's one of the better players in the kind of second tier of Premier League teams at doing it. Dangerous, tricky. There's loads of them out there, mate. Yeah, I don't need us to be signing, Haalands or failing to sign Haalands and thinking, well, at least we tried. Let's go and like access players that are actually viable, that would like to come to Tottenham, that are going to be value. And there's loads there's not just in the Premier League. There's loads of them. There's players at Frankfurt. Like I say, Hugo Larsson is a quality player. Plays for Frankfurt. Like, it's not a massive team, not a massive name. We could go and get him. You could go and get Hoyman from Sporting. I'm saying all these because I'm really focused on a 6. I really want us to get a fucking 6. Without a 6, I don't think it matters who's the manager. Our midfield isn't good enough to be able to protect.
I think you have to ask the question, right? By the way, Romano's just posted out 3 minutes ago that more on the exclusive story of Luka Modric and AC Milan. Milan are prepared to offer a contract valid until 2026 plus an option for another year, 3.5 million euros plus add-ons net per season. Just thought I'd share that with you all.
Would you take Modric?
Luka Modric.
Would you take him? Would you take him for a year at Tottenham? I know it's not going to happen, but would you?
Not in Ange's crazy, chaotic football. No, I think if we had a manager that had a normal style of football that didn't listen, we'd ruin Luka Modric's legs after about 90 minutes. Like making him run around like a headless chicken. Look, for me, I make you right, Sean. When I watch how I feel we need a blend. I feel we're not Arsenal, we're not Liverpool, we're not City, but we're also not Brentford, we're not Bournemouth, we're not Brighton. I feel we need to incorporate a bit of both. I feel we need to aim high, but still incorporate, well, how are Brighton finding them? How are Brighton finding a Belieber and we're finding an Archie Gray, right? Yeah. And we're paying more money for Archie Gray than Belieber, and look at the levels of Belieber in centre mid. That's what I want to see from Spurs now. I want to see, can we find the Belieber? Get your Eze, go and get your well-established star. Can we get a Belieber?
There's that one there, Arden Jashari, mate. Have a look at him tomorrow. Have a look at him tonight. Arden Jashari. He looks like an absolute baller. And I don't know what he's valued at. Let's have a look. Let me see what he's valued at.
It's absolutely crazy. I think there's players everywhere. But I remember doing this last year, and any player you sort of mention the nose gets turned up. We've got fans turning their nose up at Leroy Sané, right? And it's kind of like, it's kind of like, have you seen our wingers? And we're turning our nose up at Leroy Sané. But we do this every year. We turn our nose up at Dybala. We've turned our nose up at this player and that player and this. I just want some solid pros. I think we need some solid pros, stabilize the club, get a good league position. Let's get a bit of respectability back in the Premier League. Go again, bit better players. Everyone wants from 17th to winning something immediately, like 17th to league challenging. It's not going to happen.
Do you think Tottenham are like the J from the In-Betweeners, where we think we can go out pulling like 9.5 out of 10 smoke shows and telling stories like we used to? I used to, I got a blowjob from that celebrity, whatever, that sort of thing. I know. I feel like we as fans have a little bit of maybe our expectations are a little bit hit or miss, aren't they? And the club do it as well, to be fair.
But Sean, the funny thing is, whenever I try, and I do try, maybe sometimes I come across the wrong way, but whenever I try and explain to some people, not all people, some people, that certain players won't be interested in Tottenham because they're going to have a bigger offers because we're not as big as some of our fans like to think, I just get told, just put the money down. They will join. And I'm like, no, hang on. Some of these players won't. Look at Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has just had £700,000 a week put in front of him and said no, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not always going to work, but our fans seem to think just whack down 300 grand a week, players are going to come. Doesn't work like that.
Okay, but do you think though, like, let's put down the fact that we haven't really made any move. I mean, I don't know if that Sané story is true, but even if it is, part that for a second. Do you think the fact that we won the Europa League this year, do you think that changes the mindset of a certain caliber of player where if we did go after a 200 grand a week player, we could compete with United on the draw because we are an actual Europa League winner and we have got the stadium, we are in London, we're suddenly, that Spursy sort of, tag is off our shoulders a little bit. Like, is there, obviously we don't know yet because we haven't really made a move for anybody because there's no one at work, everyone's on holiday, but I just wonder whether or not that the draw of not being Spursy, like when Mickey van der Ven was told, why are you going to Spurs? You're not going to win anything there. Like, that's now not necessarily the case. So like, I just wonder whether or not we can now reach to a slightly different pedigree than we previously could have got.
Listen, I think it all depends on the person you're speaking to, right? I think there are going to be players, as I said, players and agents that are going to look and go, okay, Spurs won that, but where are they? Where are they in there? Who's coming in here? Who's coming in here? Have I got two dogs coming to join me? Yes, I have. I think, when we look at certain players and their agent are going to look and say, okay, yeah, they won it this year, Sean. But in general, what's going on at the club? What's the caliber of the players they're buying? Hang on.
Yeah,
Why did they finish 17th? Who is their manager? Hang on. They finished 8th, 5th, 17th. Other players will just go, hang on, quick buck, Champions League. But
I don't want those players. I want them. Like, if Sané's not interested in coming to Tottenham because he doesn't think we're good enough or the project's not interesting, that's fair enough, and it's an indictment. If he doesn't want to come to Tottenham because he thinks he's too good for us, then also I don't really want that anyway, because I want players that want to be here, that appreciate that don't think that they're bigger or better than anyone else in the dressing room, and that that are interested in the project, that want to know, like, they've got the questions. Okay, talk to me, sell me on this thing,
sure,
because I've got other options, but I am taking you seriously. So treat me with that respect by telling me, what is your plan over the next 3 or 4 years? How much money have you got for other transfers? Who is, who else is going to be coming in or what are you looking for? Because I'm going to spend 25% of my career with you guys potentially, so I want to know that it's going to be worth my while. If I was a player, if I was a manager and I wasn't hearing those questions from a player that you're trying to sign, I'm not sure if they're the right sort of player for us anyway.
I agree. And by the way, everyone, I'm only going to go for another 5-10 minutes max, if that's okay with everyone. Sean and I have done a lot of streaming today, individually and now together. So I will go for 5-10 more minutes. And before we do that, Mr. Pox office, thank you very much, has said, Midget, back to you, Sava. Midget, I'm not sure what that's about, but back to you, Sava, is obviously a reference for your alter ego, Mr. Box Office. Big up to you, Mr. Box Office. Thank you very much for that chat. Look, Sean, I think one of the key things for me is, you're right. It's got to be something tangible that the player and the agent turn around and go, all right, great. You finished in the Champions League. Now what? Right? Like if I'm a player, what I'm asking is, right, forget that I support Spurs. That's irrelevant. I'm a pro footballer. Right. Cool. I've got other offers on the table, or I know my agent can pitch me out. What are you guys doing at Spurs? All right, you've won the Europa League, but you've just finished 17th. What's the plan?
Yeah.
Who else you signing? Who are you targeting? What is the plan for the next 2-3 years? And I think a lot of the time football fans don't actually look and think that. They just think you can just rock up to any footballer and go, join us, boom. Players have options. Agents, well, if you're my agent and Tottenham come calling for me, the first thing you're going to do is get on the phone to other clubs and go, just so you know, Tottenham have inquired about my player.
Of course, yeah.
What you saying? Do you want him? And I think that fans completely let that go over their heads when saying, just put the money down. I really do.
Of course, yeah, because it's the oversimplification of football. I also think that fans also massively this idea that a season with a trophy is success, a season without it is failure. It's a massive oversimplification of what is an incredibly complex sport. With so many variables that will dictate your likelihood. And again, people that don't understand the financial side of it, they just think it's easy. I'll just spend more money, Daniel. Or if we get £500 million investment, then all of that can go straight into the transfer kitty. That's just not how it works, right? But people don't understand that, and they just expect that. They think it's easy, or it's Football Manager, or it's FIFA, or whatever, and it isn't. There's obviously for every transfer to work out, you need three things to happen. You need the buyer to be willing to pay the money, the seller to willing to accept the money, and the player to be willing to go. So it's not always that simple, is it?
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. And by the way, when we're saying Dibbling is good, but there's a stigma on him because he's young, but you don't know how good he is. Again, it's another teenager that's had 1 year in the Premier League for a team that have been relegated. We're talking about most completed dribbles carry than any other Premier League. This is also a player, if you want to look at that stat, I believe he's got 2 Premier League goals in 38 games. We've got to be really careful wanting to sign more children. If we're going to be brutally honest, we've got loads. I'm not sure this fascination, Sean, with everyone saying he's young, he's going to be brilliant. Sometimes you don't know. If you're Yamal, if you're Doué, you go, God, these are going to be the best players in the world, right? When we're looking at Tyler Dibbling, that's not the guy you get in Champions League for, is it? That's not the signing you make when you've just got in the Champions League, is it?
Well, I don't know, if he's 50 million quid, what? By the way, Southampton wanted 100 million quid for him in January, right? Which is obviously ludicrous. But where does he end up? If he's leaving Southampton, where does someone like Tyler Dibbling go then? What is his level?
Mate, I don't know, but it shouldn't surely be a team that just got in the Champions League, should it?
Oh, no, I hear you, but I'm just trying to think what I don't think he's done enough to be valued at 50 million. If he's 30 million with a massive kicker, then maybe someone like Wolves, or I don't know. I'm just trying to think like how old was Anthony Gordon when he went to Newcastle?
God, 20, 21? Don't know.
So that's not dissimilar then, right?
Let's have a look.
Anthony Gordon. I remember when we were linked with Anthony Gordon, and then he ended up going to Newcastle. Everybody in the chats that I was in was saying Anthony Gordon's a mug, and Newcastle are like, yeah, go and send you to. I was like, you guys are going to you're so wrong about him. He's an absolute beast, and he turned out to be everything that I thought he would.
Well, he's so he went to Everton. He went there at 22, from what I can see. He had 78 games in an Everton shirt, and he's now played 106 games in a Newcastle shirt, as far as I can see.
And what's Tyler Dibbling done at Southampton?
Let's have a look. You testing my Tyler Dibbling? I mean, listen, by the way, I don't mind Tyler Dibbling. I just think that with what we've done for the last 4 or 5 years, constantly buying these young players, I just feel like if that's all we ever do, I worry. So Tyler Dibbling has played 1 game in the Championship. And let's have a look at his total. He's played 45 games in his career. Tyler Dibbling got 4 goals. So 38 games, 4 goals in all competitions this season. for me, it's just
he's not quite at Anthony Gordon's level before Anthony Gordon got the Newcastle move.
Absolutely, but also
maybe Brighton, maybe the Brighton levels. Maybe he could go to Brighton or something like that. Maybe would be a better step for him next. But then I don't even know if Brighton would be that sort of player.
I think what's interesting is whenever I say I don't want any more kids, people will go, "Oh, you'll regret that in 3 years when they're brilliant." Well, that's life. If in 3 years' time they're brilliant, that's life. But at some point, here's my thing. Our fans spend all this time, we have to win. We have to get in the Champions League. We must get Champions League. Cool. So let's keep that theory for buying players now we've got in the Champions League, shall we? Let's not go, we've got in the Champions League. I want Tyler Dibbling. Oh, do you? Another one that needs to be coached along with Odegaard, along with Moore and Yang and Donnelly and Sarr and Adogi. And I just don't think it's quite right for me, mate. Just for me.
Yeah. I mean, if Tyler Dibbling, again, it's one of those positions where our wingers are so bad right now that I think that, as I said earlier, I think that certain positions in your team, depending on what you need and what your current squad level is, you can't be like adding in criteria to the player identification. Like, oh, we need him to be under 23 and we need him to be homegrown or any of that shit. You can do that stuff if you already have value in those positions and you're just looking for, to add to the depth. But like for me, we need a winger that's top draw, and Tyler Dibbling might become that. But I need someone that is going to handle it and that's not injury prone. That's hopefully got a decent record of playing, 40 games a season. That's done it at the Champions League.
The disrespect. There's no disrespect. He's an exciting young talent. And I think this is the problem, Sean. There's no middle ground. If you say you don't want another teenager at Spurs, how many teenagers do we possibly need on our books at any one time? Because what would happen is
like a school disco, isn't it?
Fans like this, big up to you, Matt, but fans like this will say the disrespect on Dibbling is wild. Okay, let me pose you a hypothetical, Sean. Spurs go and spend £60 million on Tyler Dibbling, right? This summer. And Tyler Dibbling starts as one of our front three next year, and we're going to the Champions League. The moment we have a bit of bad form, everyone will go, well, what do you expect? We didn't give Ange players to compete.
Yeah. He's back Ange. More Project Youth.
Those players, right? This is what we do. I've heard that this season. If I say anything about Brennan Johnson and Solanke, I'm told I'm negative. Sure. But then when I say, well, why aren't we scoring more goals in certain games? People go, well, look at that front three. What's Ange meant to do? Well, hang on. You wanted them. So I think we've got to be really
They don't want them.
careful.
They just don't want you to tell them that they're not good enough. Listen, don't tell me what I already know, you negative bastard.
Yeah. Tyler Dibbling could be the greatest player in world football in 5 years. Sure. There you go. But right now, if you're looking at Dibblings, if you're looking at Mbuemos, if I'm looking at Matomas, that's the level I want to look at. Try and get Matoma before Bayern do. Like Bayern are apparently going to offload Sane and Tell and take Matoma. That's where I want to be at. I want to be knocking on the door and going, how much for Matoma? Now that's a player that excites me. How
much would he be? How much would he be?
They reckon that, Plettenberg the other day said he's available for, 45, 50 million euros.
Well, just go and get that then. Well, actually, I'm doing what everyone else does. Just go and do it.
Yeah, listen, I just saw a comment. Yeah, Ash, I said we have too many young wingers. Like, listen, Ash, the problem is, I think people are forgetting you've already got Yang and Moore that will need to be developed at some point. You've got Odegaard, who's a young winger that needs to be developed. Jamie Donnelly coming back, who can play there, also midfield, is going to need to be developed, right? Papasan needs to be developed. Archie Gray, Bergval, right? Scarlett, Valise, I know, probably be going. Devine, Vuskovic, Phillips, Dorrington. How many players do we want that need to be developed while saying we want to compete to win trophy? Like it's got to be sensible here. We can't act completely like a small club and then say, why aren't we doing better? But listen, I am going to leave it there if that's all right with you, Sean. But just before we go, Blaine Dev, always super,
big up,
super
boy.
Blaine, you're a legend. You know it. And he said, lads, which of you two do I need to send the bribes to get the P45s for Ange, Lang, Levy, and Mum? Sean, what if I line up Helga for a visit? I don't know if that's an inside joke. Late night shenanigans afoot. Big up, Sav and Sean. Before I thank Blaine, who's Helga and why is she visiting you?
Helga was the fictitious Norwegian princess that I promised everyone that I was going to meet when I went to Bodo. And then on the video that I put together, there was 3 absolute smoke shows that I've named all of them Helga. And I got one of their numbers. I text her. She never texts me back. And so the less we talk about Helga, the better, you know. But then, you know, I'm gonna still go back and get her. Well, not her, someone else. Because there's just the quality of the girls in that Iceland or that sort of Arctic town was just incredible. So yeah, if you can line up a Helga visit for me, mate, Blaine, then yeah, you're a better man than I am, because I couldn't do it. I text her and she didn't text me back, and I only text people once. Don't text me back once, then that's it. You know.
No, absolutely. Look, completely agree. By the way, Blaine Dev, you're always very generous. Thank you very much, buddy. Really, really do appreciate you. And when I say you're very generous, you're always very, very generous. So thank you, Blaine, for that. By the way, Ash, I just saw one comment, and Ash, I agree. People, you know, the same people that say, you know, oh, we're 17th because we don't have the squad, the same people that keep saying, let's buy more teenagers. How about we buy some experienced pros? Absolutely, Ash. Big up to my man. Guys and girls, please, please, please do get over to Sean's channel. You know where to find him. He is huge in the game. He's a bigger YouTuber than me. This guy is massive, aren't you, Sean? Massive.
Well, yeah, I've put on a lot of weight recently, so yeah, I'm becoming bigger and bigger and bigger every other day. You know, it's this sedentary lifestyle, mate. It's you know, I don't do enough exercise anymore. Cause I used to take Bugsy for a walk. Now I just stand still with a cat with a tripod and do my videos and just throw the ball for Bugsy. So she's getting fit, but not me. I'm getting fat. But yeah, appreciate you having me, mate. I enjoyed it. Good chat.
It's not what I meant. Sean is one of only 5 YouTubers over 30,000 subscribers in the Tottenham world. So big up to you. Please get over there and subscribe to Sean if you haven't already. Please subscribe to me as we chase down 18.2K. We're only 11 away from that. Thank you very much for all the likes, all the subscribers tonight, all of the super chats, all very, very, very generous. I'll be back tomorrow in some way, shape or form with lots of content. And who knows what Tottenham are going to announce tomorrow. But what we do know is, as the new motto is, it's never dull at Spurs. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs.